So, I want to talk today about some of the ways in which even the prettiest looking sales pages, opt in pages, and websites can actually distract from the conversions you need by being too fancy or missing some of the common human behavior, psychology, sales methods that we need to have put in place in a web page in order to get people to take action. So, first, let's start with a page that really breaks some of the rules. I wouldn't even say breaks some of the rules, but really is missing some of the elements that we need to have. And this is a common thing I see a lot. And so as you're looking at this, see if your page has any of these mistakes. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what are the elements of design and what are the elements of conversion that need to be on your sales page. Now, this is controversial, but I'm going to show you Jenna Kutcher's site because she's actually gone through a few iterations and she sells a template that is very much like her page. And the thing is, her page is great on mobile, but on desktop, it does not perform very well. Or I shouldn't say perform well, but it really isn't great. It works for her because she's very famous. And so she's already got a lot of traffic. She's already got a lot of notoriety. People know what she stands for. It's a lot easier for people to convert and get into her world from this page, but it lacks the kind of clarity that you need to have for the uninitiated who don't know you. So let me show you some key problems of it. Let's pretend this is somebody we didn't already know. Okay, since we know who Jenna Kutcher is, or you maybe do, we can kind of ignore some of this. But if you didn't, her face is obscured. She's got this copy that is overlapping important copy here. And then she's got several different font types. So this page already feels like it's lacking some branding. We've got this serif font here, and then we've got a sans serif font here, which maybe is the same as this one. And then you've got this other lowercase one here. And then educator, digital marketer, podcaster, hype woman, overachiever, mama, and BFF who brings the good snacks. I see this mistake a lot. We're trying to show all the different facets of ourselves. But in doing so, it can be clear what we're about and who we're for. So you need to make it clear right up front. What is your brand? What do you stand for? Who do you help and how? And what is the reason that somebody who is here should pay attention? And so it's best to start with something a little bit more like this. And I'm going to toot my own horn and I'm going to show my page. So let me pause for a second. And this isn't something that I came up with, but basically what you're being told right here is very specific to who I'm trying to attract and what problem I'm trying to solve and why they should pay attention. And then they're getting to know a little bit more about me. Right away, I talk about who I am. I keep it simple. Your go-to CMO and launch strategist. I'm also podcast host, musician, and single dad. And so there's clarity, and then there's personality, and then there's resonance, or as Marie Forleo and Laura Belgray say, CPR. Clarity, personality, and resonance. Now, definitely Jenna's site has the personality, and it might even have some of the resonance, right? If you're also an overachiever and a mama and such, this resonates with you, but there's a little lack of clarity here. And that is the big key problem here. Clarity, if you don't have clarity, you will lose people because they don't know what this is, who it's for, or what it does. Now, moving down, this is fancy, right? This is very trendy right now. We've got these plants, a lot of people with the cool plants right now. It's just of the time right now. It's going to go away in a while, I'm sure, just like every other website trend, but that's fine. It's attracting people who also like that vibe. So she is kind of telegraphing her message about who this is for in a subtle way. But we've got a little bit of a disconnect. Now she's telling you about herself. She already did, but now she's doing it again. I'm a digital marketing expert, self-education mastermind, data-obsessed algorithm avenger, detail-loving. Like, this is a long list. Puppy parent, frequent flyer, margarita mixologist. It's too much and it's not relevant to you. Why should you care? Okay, maybe you'll resonate with this, but this is one of the most important points of her site, right at the top. Nobody should have to go digging for what they came to get. And so this needs to go somewhere else, or it needs to be truncated and immediately flipped around to then tell people why that matters to them. I want to help you build that bridge between that unchecked dream life you put on the shelf to you living it out, starting well. How about as soon as possible? Okay, there's the message, but it's so buried below all this stuff. It needs to be more front and centered. She could have even have put that in the very top of this page. Like stories, I've got a good one. Right now, she's going to pull you off. Let's take a look at where this goes and not get you into her world. I mean, you're kind of getting into her world from here, but now she's telling you who she is again. Now she's a small town Minnesota photographer. podcaster and educator with big dreams. Okay, so she keeps adding all these lists of things that she is. She really needs to refine who she is and what she wants to be known for. If, somebody wanted to say, you're that thing. So when I did this with my site, I decided I want to be known for being the go-to course guy. I want to be the course guy. And so it's really obvious that even though I'm also a multi-instrumental musician, a blogger, a vlogger, a YouTube such and such, a podcaster, I help people with email automation, funnels, blah, blah, blah. I can go on and on and on, right? We're all multi-passionate. We're all multifaceted. Most people don't know I'm also a really good rollerblader. You know what? That's not relevant. So let's continue on. Let's find out what's your secret sauce. Okay, already this video, which is cool, if you will, it really distracts you and it stops you in your track from reading this right here. This is more important than looking at her smiling face. Cut the video, remove the distraction. Now, there's a few mistakes with this. We've got this text right here in white. You've got this overlapping thing. What's your secret sauce? How to own your awesome, stand up from the crowd, build a successful business, and have fun doing it. Okay, now this could have gone further up the funnel as well, because this is going to get you on her email list. And that is one of the most important things that she could be doing. And so from the hierarchy of the sales page, that should come a little sooner or be a little bit better highlighted. And one way you could do that is, again, get rid of the distractions, make this pop more. And then here's a key element. Don't center align important text. I talk about this all the time, but the Nielsen-Norman Group, who used to measure TV rating and TV watching, now that's obsolete because we've got digital measurements for this. With streaming services, you can tell what people are watching. But back in the day with regular TV, they didn't know. And so they would survey you. They'd send you $1 and say, hey, fill out this journal, email it back, or mail it back to us, and you get to keep the $1. Now they put glasses on their survey people. I don't know what the word is. And they record the eye tracking movements of people to see how they behave and what they read and don't read and what they skip past and skim on the internet. And what they found is centerline text needs to go away unless it's just a headline or subheader. Now you can kind of get away with this. This is okay because it's only a couple lines. But generally speaking, any copy that is important and you want people to read it, number one, give it a little breathing room. Number two, don't center align it. Left align always. Okay, this right here should have come up probably right under here. Your trust signifiers to your strangers should come sooner. So if you're copying this and people don't know you, give them that instant credibility sooner. I like to see that right under the hero. Now, this suffers from hot potato. Now, again, this looks better on mobile, and a lot of our viewers are probably viewing it on mobile. But look at the way it's just, where does your eye want to go first? Okay, it goes to this orange thing. It maybe looks over here. It looks over at this circle. It looks here. This is called hot potato. Hot potato is when your eyes dart around the page and they don't know what to look at. And so what you've got to do is you got to create a little bit more consistency. She's doing too much of a pattern interrupt. With sections like this, I like to usually see maybe a stripe for number 1, and then a stripe for number 2, and then a stripe for number 3. And then you can break up the monotony of the 1, 2, 3 stripes by having a different section that's formatted differently the way this one is. But again, this is another hot potato situation. What we also know about design is we don't typically like to read in columns. We like to read wider straight across. And so now what do we look at? We look at this, we look at this. We've got all this block of copy. We've got the squished block of copy in a different font. And then we've got this thing and our eyes are confused. What is the most important thing to get away from here? Okay. Right away, you can see that there's a podcast and here's popular episodes, but the formatting of this is very messy and it feels a little scattered. And when you confuse or overwhelm people with design elements, what happens is we want to save mental calories. So what do? We ignore and we move on. The other big takeaway here is if you've got more than 2 sentences in a paragraph, it needs to be broken up. You don't have to worry about this being, here it is again, overlap and too big of blocks of copy. It needs to be broken up into line breaks. We can break all the rules of English essay writing. This isn't MLA formatting, if you know what that is. This is not English class. Now, this is one of her better sections, but again, it's unclear what this is. Is this her blog? Are these her podcasts? What are her picks? It's most likely a blog. Now we're back to this distracting thing, taking you away from this important thing. All right, so I think I've pretty much beaten a dead horse here with the different mistakes this is making. Okay, this is very, very, very impressive. Big old Russell Brunson. But probably what's said here is more important. But there's so much going on. There's too many types of fonts. Again, too much center aligned text. It's just really messy and unclear. Okay, she's throwing the kitchen sink into this first page. And yes, one pages can be very, very effective, but this page seems to really lack a sense of clarity around what is the purpose of getting on here and what are you supposed to get out of it. It's trying to be too many things to too many people. And if you copy this, it's going to hurt your conversions. So let me show you what to do instead. So right away, let people know what you look like, let them know who you're for, what you stand for, give them some sense of your credibility, briefly tell them what you're about, only in as much as how it's about them. And so really quickly, you can gather that I'm a father, I work, who I help, what are the things I do, just a little bit of my personality, and whether or not it resonates with you, and then immediately what I want you to do, which is check out my services to hire me. Then I've got some testimonials, which aren't loading right now, probably because I'm running video. And then this is what I want to be known for. So I made it really crystal clear what I'm known for. And what I like to do is I like to keep it clean. I like to keep it, and this is more of a stylistic thing, but I don't like these unbalanced blocks of color and image that compete. I know that the eyes want to move in a linear fashion or a Z pattern or something like that. And so I've got a hierarchy of information. Most important, secondly important, and then I use a contrasting color that I want you to pay attention to, rather than making a distracting color draw your eye away from something important, as this page tends to do. From there, there's different ways in which you can engage with my free content. So basically, I want people to know what the opportunity is, why I'm credible and they should listen, a little bit of my story and why that relates to you, what I want you to do about it, a little bit more credibility. Sorry, that's not showing up. What I want to be known for, and then my platform of choice. Now, I also have to add my podcast into here, which I will do soon. But basically, this sets up some key areas of my expertise. And what you want to do is you want to curate 3 of the most common things that people want to know about, or topics that speak to the different levels in the customer journey of your ideal client. Now, if you go over to one of those call to action buttons from my front page, you're brought to this page, and this is the Work With Me page. And basically, I've stated the problem and who has that problem right at the top. Why did I do this? Because people want to know what's in it for them. They're looking at, what can you do for me? I'm not here to learn about you. I'm here to solve a problem. And that is exactly what I'm offering right at the top. And then how I do this. Now, this formula is basically who has which problem, what that problem is, and then how I solve the problem, what services I use to get what outcome. And you can get this from, what is his name? The StoryBrand guy. Donald Miller, he actually came up with this formula. It's essentially problem, solution, outcome. And this is really how you want to develop an entire sales page as well. I'm just truncating it right up at the top, but a sales page should really flow the opportunity, then make people problem aware of why that opportunity is so hard to attain, and then to kind of agitate that pain, go from those emotions into the solution. And with the solution, it's emotion, logic, and fear. And I don't mean scared fear, I mean scarcity. So emotion, the excitement of having the opportunity; logic, the logical ways in which this course or program or service is going to solve those problems; and then scarcity, or Maybe it's fear around, if you don't take action, here's what could happen. You're still stuck where you are, or you're wasting time, or you're wasting money on other solutions that won't work. And so again, I repeat my trust triggers, a tiny little bit of my story. Again, hierarchy of information along with size. Size indicates a lot of that. And space. You'll notice I use a lot of space. When you clutter and cluster things together, people aren't drawn in, they're overwhelmed, and they ignore. I also like to use a little bit of contrast from time to time to call out different pieces, such as why I'm different. So now I'm educating you a little bit about myself, the benefits of working with me. I'm showing some of those exact results. And you notice I have sort of a pattern here, pattern of every other. And then I interrupt the pattern. Now here I did go with center align, but I did it strategically as a pattern interrupt because it's leading your eyes. Look at the way this works. This is going almost like a downward triangle pointing right to this button. Then a little bit more about what my clients say to me. I'm utilizing video and some of the big results they get. I might get rid of this because I might want people to just talk to me. But again, same thing. And then I'm repeating my call to action. So these are the important elements of design. It's really arranging your sales page, not just to be cool looking or pretty, but it's really important to have them be strategic.